Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Join us as we help explain exactly what having a solid financial plan means, as Jake draws from years of experience in helping hundreds of individuals get financially organized and focused on their goals. We hope you find Upticks educational, entertaining, and shareable. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to the show. This is episode 203, Our Services with Cory Bittner. Cory, back-to-back episodes. Thank you for joining me again.
Thank you. Back-to-back weeks here. It's exciting.
And I'm back in the office. So had a great trip down in Tulsa with a good friend and client. Sad to say we didn't win, and not because of him. It was because of me. But we had a good time. It was really hot, but the golf course was in amazing shape. I mean, you were down there for the PGA Championship. We played at Southern Hills, and I would argue the course looked the same, believe it or not. I mean, it was in the same, if not maybe even better condition, because there wasn't all the gallery tramping down the rough, right? So all the rough was actually rough instead of, walked on. And there was no crosswalks because people weren't walking across the fairway. So anyways, had a great time. Southern Hills is first class. Credit to that, to Kerry Cosby and his crew. First class experience all the way around. And they had a lot, I think there was 100 teams. So 200 people. That's a lot to organize, a lot of personalities, a lot of golf, a lot of logistics, and it went off quite smoothly.
Excellent.
So
I'm glad you guys had fun. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, but I'm back. Good to be back in the office. And today I wanted to talk about our services, because we've had some disconnects lately with clients about perhaps maybe not fully understanding the complete value of our offering. So I wanted to talk about two things. I wanted to go into depth on what it is exactly we do for our clients and why they are hiring us, and frankly, why they need us. And then two, I want to talk about how our costs basically are computed, and the reason that we bill the way that we do for our clients. I want to talk about those two dynamics. And ultimately, it's very important to remember that clients choose to work with us to enhance their financial literacy and explain exactly what their financial plan means to them. And that's really our purpose at Falcon Wealth Advisors and why we are in business. Good. Cory, do you want to add anything to that before we kick it off here?
Let's kick it off.
Okay. So for each and every initial meeting that I have with somebody that's looking to hire us, I really tell them we do two things at Falcon Wealth Advisors. I tell them that we do financial, retirement, and tax planning, and investment management. So Cory, let's first go into, so when a client hires us, I think the first thing that we do that actually is extremely valuable is we help them with financial organization. And maybe you can speak to that a little bit, is what I'm talking about when, a lot of times clients come to us and they have accounts all over the place. So what do we do regarding financial organization for our clients?
In the initial consultation that we have with someone before they become a client, what we'll sit down is ask a series of questions to understand what people have and where. So if it's old 401ks, if it's IRAs, if it's Roth accounts, whatever it might be, just really taking the time to go through things point by point to make sure that we have the whole 360 view of where things stand, because then we can give advice on what needs to be done as opposed to only seeing a small part of the picture.
Right. And I think, believe it or not, a lot of people, when they initially come to us, don't have a complete inventory of all of their accounts and how they're set up. And so getting things organized, even if you keep a spreadsheet, I think what we do is we take it to the next level. So like you said, we ask them a very thorough questionnaire, take inventory, and then we actually get into the emotional side of money, which I'll get into here in a moment. But that inventory, what it also allows us to do is we plug all of that into our financial planning software, and we electronically link it all. And then we start analyzing the investments, because you might have, an account at an old 401k or with an old advisor or something you've self-directed. And if you're not looking at the way all of those assets are allocated, you might actually be hurting yourself from a financial investment perspective. And so being organized and hiring someone to help you with that organization is step number one for us, and very critical, because again, you could be purging money, whether it be in fees, inefficient investments, maybe you've got too much money in cash. All of these things go into looking at your financial organization. And when we build out and establish this financial plan from day one, we really take it to another level as far as being organized. So even if you have a spreadsheet, that's good. A lot of our clients have that when they come meet with us, but plugging it into our financial planning software and then taking a deeper dive at the asset allocation really can help you get organized.
Yes.
All right. So sticking with that financial planning theme, another thing that I talk about is basically, which I mentioned already, is the emotional side. So Cory, maybe you can talk about some of the open-ended questions that we ask clients that maybe they've never been asked before, frankly, in their lives.
Absolutely. I'll ask you one right now, Jake. If you woke up tomorrow morning and it was 6 a.m. and you didn't work anymore, what are you doing? How are you spending your time? Where are you? Who are you with?
Well, tomorrow's Saturday, Cory. So if you're
All
talking
right, how about Monday?
Monday's a holiday.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Same concept applies. But the idea there, I think, is in order for the way that I look at it is that the elements of the service we provide for clients, there, of course, is the financial organization component of what you talked about, Jake. But in order for us to really be able to do our job well and to be able to connect with clients, we have to understand what's important to them and what makes them tick.
Yeah, and I was joking. To answer your question,
I know.
I'm in my early 40s, and I ask that question all the time. And I don't today. It's very difficult for me because my passion is fully in wealth management. I mean, this is what I do, and this is my purpose, and I love this. I don't consider this work. So I'm a little bit different than most of our clients, I think. But if I wasn't doing, maybe the question is, if I wasn't doing financial planning or wealth management for clients, for whatever reason, I would probably be with Rachel, or I would be traveling, or I would be playing golf, or probably onto some other business venture, whatever that may be. But again, that's a tough one for me. Luckily for a lot of our clients, though, it's not as difficult because they're a little closer to retirement in most situations. Another question that I ask, Cory, is I ask people, why is money important to you?
Yep.
How would you answer that one?
Opportunity and security is what money can provide.
So that's why it's important to you. So by having money, you feel like you have more opportunities and you're secure and safe.
Mm-hmm.
That security and safety is it's like that Maslow hierarchy of needs. It's typically very first. I'll drill down and I'll keep asking, and I won't subject you to that today on the show, but I'll keep asking and try and dig deeper and deeper and deeper, because ultimately, so we get you financial organized, and then we want to align your financial plan with what's important to you. And that's where Cory and I are going with this. So again, if you're not going to work on a Tuesday at 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. or noon, what are you doing? Why is money important to you? What does a perfect retirement look like? What are you looking for in an advisor relationship, right? These are all types of questions that we ask our clients because, we want to connect with you on a deeper level. And we're not really this transactional broker where we're a commodity and you're just paying us for, to paint your house. Like that's not what we're doing here. We want to serve as your trusted fiduciaries, which, we're legally bound to act in your best interest. And we want to guide you along as your life ultimately changes, as your priorities changes, as your purpose changes. But we want to have those conversations with our clients because we want to make sure we're giving you advice on what's important to you. Because again, two clients could have $3 million each, and they could have completely different priorities, and they could have a completely different purpose. And their financial plans, because of that, could look completely different. And so that's what we want to drill down. So that goes into financial organization and the planning. What about retirement planning, Cory? I know both of us, by the way, are chartered retirement planning counselors. So we've actually taken the time that actually not a lot of advisors have that designation, but we've really taken the extra step there to get a certification so that we can have some of these retirement questions. Why don't you throw out some of the retirement topics without going into too much detail of items that we talk about with our clients?
Sure. Retirement accounts, Social Security, Medicare, required minimum distributions. I could go on, but there's 4.
Yeah, Roth IRAs, conversions, 401ks, pensions, health insurance, life insurance.
Yep.
Those are all types of conversations that we have with our clients around retirement plan. When do you take Social Security? Do you turn it on at 62? Do you wait till you're 70? Do you wait till your full retirement age? All of those conversations are very normal for us to have. But for many people, obviously, first off, it's an important decision, but it's a decision they've never had to make. And so for you and I, we've literally had thousands of meetings about these subjects. And we're not claiming to know it all, but we've taken a lot of time studying about it. We've had a lot of reps advising clients on it. That sector changes, right? Medicare changes, Social Security changes, 401k rules change, Roths change, health savings accounts change, like all that stuff changes. So our job is to be abreast of what's going on in the changes, and then relay that to our clients so that they can make good informed decisions and we can guide them along.
Exactly. And I think, I'm sorry, Jake, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
No, the quick comment that I just wanted to make too was I was thinking about this yesterday when I had a conversation with an estate planning attorney. Back at the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020 is when the Secure Act was signed. And you and I, Jake, know all about the Secure Act and everything involved, changing the required distribution age, changing the way that beneficiaries inherit retirement accounts and how they pay taxes. The reason I bring this up right now is that's a perfect example of a change in legislation that will have impact for years and years to come for our clients and for their families. So when something like that occurs, that gives us the opportunity to have the conversations that we need to have with clients to figure out what we can do proactively to plan accordingly.
Right. Good. That's a very good point. And then the third part here, financial organization, that has financial planning, retirement planning, and then tax planning is a huge piece of what we do. We've always done it kind of at a high level, but I'm proud to report that we're doing that at a much deeper level for our clients. And Cory, maybe you can explain what I'm talking about here.
Yes, so we've started using a new tax planning software that allows us to scan our clients' tax returns directly into it, and it will generate a report to show us, observations and opportunities of what might make sense for clients to consider. Kind of just gives us the big picture, and then it allows us to evaluate, if we were to do this, what's the impact on someone's tax situation for this year, for the next year thereafter. So we can evaluate, if or scenarios, or if proposed tax legislation changes, we can help clients understand what that means to them.
Yeah, it's a huge game changer for our clients. We've run a lot of the reports already. You and I don't head up that project. We've got 4 financial planners on our team that do all of that from A to Z with our clients. But it's a pretty slick process. Basically, you just need to upload your tax return to our secure client portal vault, or bring it into our office and we'll scan it in and give you the hard copy back. They run the analysis, usually takes them a couple of days. You'll schedule a time to meet with one of our planners, either in the office or virtually, and they'll walk you through it. They'll walk you through the 4-page document, for however many pages it is, go over the observations and look at these opportunities. Now, again, I want to be very clear here. We are not in the tax advice business, so we're not going to be filing your returns. But what we're looking to do is hopefully lower that tax liability, right? So you always want to double check this with your CPA. But again, it's a huge value add to our clients. We are not raising our cost of services. This is something we decided to absorb for our clients because the cost of it, because they wanted it, right? And we're here to add deep value on the financial, retirement, and tax planning piece. And that's something that we're excited to do and excited to be a part of.
Excellent. Yeah, it's fantastic. We've found it is a great time to work in the world that we do, Jake, because there is seemingly new technology that's becoming available every day that we can really vet out and evaluate and see what makes sense for our clients.
Right. Perfect. And then before I flip it over to the investment side of things that we do, it's important to understand that also each and every client, and we have over 700 clients, has access to our entire 14-person team. So basically you have us on retainer. We're not charging you an hourly rate to meet with us. We're not charging you by meeting, and we're certainly not charging you commissions when we do execute on some of these actions. And so whether you need to meet with me or with Cory or a planner or a trader or someone from operations, you have access to this entire group of people this team working for you, basically kind of like your chief financial officer, and your handling everything and your dealings at your disposal. And so that's very valuable, very important, that you know that you have access to that. Now, we're very proactive. We're going to reach out. We're going to check in with you. If you don't need to meet, that's fine. But certainly if you need to meet because something's new or different, or you've got a question, let's do it. Let's set up a time to meet and make that happen. I think, Cory, on your most recent show of In the Money Insight, we also talked about how you and I are really slated now for the more complicated cases, for lack of a better term. So if it's a day-to-day planning or tax planning question or financial organization, our financial planners are more than capable to have those meetings on their own. And again, they're not junior to us, they're extensions of us. We don't have any junior advisors on our team. The planners basically do things that you and I don't do, simply. And that's to be more efficient and frankly more effective for our clients.
Yep.
Okay, that's only one half. Now it's important to remember, and I'm gonna get into the way that we charge, but I think there's a huge disconnect, maybe not huge, but for many clients, there is a disconnect because the cost of doing business is based on the asset that we manage. And a lot of people default that to the investments, and they always go quickly to the investment. But we aren't charging a separate cost for all of this financial, tax, and retirement planning. So the way that we're compensated, yes, it's based on the amount of capital that we manage, because if you have more capital, we're doing more work, we're managing more, but we're not charging a planning fee, right? So whatever you're paying us goes into paying our financial planners, and goes into paying for the tax planning software, and goes into paying for our financial planning software and our operations group. All of the work that those two teams do, that is part of the cost that you pay. So it's very important that some advisors will split it all out. The reason we haven't done that is we just feel like it's very complex and makes it more complicated, frankly, than it needs to be at this time. We may look at changing that down the road, but today we want to keep it simple for our clients and efficient. But it's important to remember that whatever you're paying us is not just an investment management fee, it's an advisory fee. And the advisory, half of what we're advising on is planning, right? Financial, tax, and retirement planning. So, and I'll get into that in more detail. So going into the investment piece, Cory, maybe you can talk about, on a high level again, I don't want to get too deep in today's show, but talk about maybe how we invest money that's different than many other financial or wealth advisors out there.
So a few quick things I want to point out. One is while we just talked through the financial planning component, just as a reminder for clients, the whole idea is the investment assets, the portfolio is designed to help fuel the financial plan. So that's why we start there. That's why we want to understand what's important,
right,
what the big picture looks like, so we can invest the funds accordingly. But as far as actually managing the assets, what's a lot different in my experience from Falcon Wealth Advisors and a lot of other advisors is that we don't use any investment products. We don't use mutual funds. We don't use exchange traded funds. We don't sell annuities. We buy individual stocks and bonds, and we have option strategies that we utilize for clients too.
Yeah, so that's a big differentiator. I don't know what the numbers are. Last time I saw, I think only like maybe 10 or 20% of advisors in the country don't use products like us. So we're unique in that, and it just comes from experience, frankly. We used to use products. We got tired of the hidden fees. We got tired of the underperformance, and we got tired of being held accountable for something we weren't controlling. So we decided we wanted to be held accountable, and we wanted to control it. And most importantly, we wanted transparency for our clients and to lower the cost. So because we're not using third-party products, our clients don't have to worry about paying third-party fees. So that's very important. So what we do is we take, like you said, good point, Cory, we take that financial plan, everything's organized, everything's consolidated, everything's tax efficient, everything's geared for your retirement. And we basically develop an asset allocation strategy that has been derived from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. They've got a program that both you and I have completed called Investment Strategies and Portfolio Management. They've been teaching it that way since I think the 50s. And so in our opinion, it's tried and true. It uses math to make your investment decisions. So we're just using our discipline, and we have two full-time traders in Abby and Matthew who are executing that each and every single day for our clients. So again, we take your capital, we open up the accounts with our custodian, and they start trading based on our financial planning rules, for lack of a better term. And they're monitoring that each and every day. So if a stock goes way up or goes way down and we need to buy or we need to sell, they're doing that for you at our discretion. If a bond matures and we need to reinvest it, they're doing that at our discretion. So you can, again, to Cory's point, if a Tuesday at 10 o'clock is not looking at the stock market or not looking at Bloomberg, which we pay for 2 licenses, and that's not cheap, Cory. If you don't want to pay for Bloomberg and have access to all the research and be watching it every single day, then that's another reason that you hire us. Because as these markets cycle and things go up and they go down, in our opinion, in our philosophy, it pays to be semi-active and to trade on that. And so that's what we're doing for our clients. So to us, it's a huge, tremendous add. And again, our value add, it's a huge, value add. But again, our performance is there to fuel the financial plan. And, we can't publicize performance yet on a broad, but on a broad level, most of our clients are outperforming the market. And again, it's, we're proud of that. And I'm happy to show that to anybody that wants to see how we've done. The industry doesn't let us publicize. I think they're changing that. It's not our compliance, it's the industry. But again, for most of the client meetings I've been having lately, Cory, they've been doing quite a bit better. And you're not going to get that. If you buy an exchange traded fund, ETF, index fund, you're just going to get what the market gets. And you have no chance of doing better than the market. And so rather than raise the white flag, we've spent a lot of money on education and technology and frankly support and having 2 traders so that we can add some value to our clients' lives. Now, we're not always going to beat the market, but the idea is if we know what we own and why we own it, we feel that that's a big time benefit to our clients versus them just slapping it in an index.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything there?
No, I think you made a really good point at the very end there, Jake, in that, well, you made a lot of good points, to be clear.
Thank you.
But as it pertains to the investment management piece, I mean, from my point of view, if we know we've talked through what our clients hire us to do, but when it comes to buying an index fund or buying a mutual fund or a type of investment product, for me personally, I feel as if I was the one that was doing that for clients, I wouldn't really feel like I was adding a ton of value because I'm just going and doing something that they could go and do themselves. And
right.
They're paying me to go and do that for them.
Right. I would argue for our clients to be able to do what we do for them, they're going to need to pay $25,000 a year to Bloomberg because we have access to that. Hightower, our back office, has given us access to credit sites. I think we still have Real Vision. What's the other? Strategas, right? Yep. So we get a ton of other institutional research. So they're going to have to go buy all of that and pay for that. Then we have trading software to make sure that we don't mess anything up, right? To rebalance. So they're going to need to go pay for all of that. Then they're probably going to need to go to Wharton to get educated, right? Or to take some level of investment management course so they know what they're doing. So they understand what alpha and beta and R squared and information ratio, all this jargon that you and I know. They need to understand that. They need to understand portfolio construction. And then, Cory, they need to do it full time. They need to do this Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's when the stock market is open. They need to be locked in, ready to go, and know what's going on. Each and every business, because that's what we're doing for them.
Some retirement, huh?
Right. So, you have some of these do-it-yourselfers or hobbyists, right? That's all fine and dandy. I get it. I love doing this as well, but you don't want to manage $3 million as a hobby. I guess unless you have 100 million.
Sure.
But you don't want to manage your retirement nest egg, all of your retirement on a hobby, or you don't want to slap it in an index fund. Like, I don't know, that's just like going on autopilot. And, I know these, whatever you think about self-driving vehicles, Cory, but I still wouldn't get in a car without a driver, right? And maybe one day. But again, so we're driving that investment process. We're using technology. We are educating ourselves constantly, and our team is, but frankly, our traders are as well. And that's what we're doing. So it's a full-time gig. You can't do it. You can't just do it and think you can do it on your own. In my opinion, you probably can, obviously, but you're going to underperform, and you're literally going to cost you and your family thousands of dollars, and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, sadly. All right, good. So let's get into the way we charge then. So in my opinion, I think we do a lot. I think we add a ton of value. I love what we do. We're always looking to find ways that we can, in fact, add deeper value without raising our costs for our clients. And so the way that we charge is a percentage of the assets or the capital that we manage here at Falcon Wealth Advisors. Because if you deposit $1 million, whether that's in stock, cash, bonds, whatever, and you're asking our advice, whether that's financial, retirement, or tax advice, or investment advice, that's what we're in business to do. So everything that you and I basically just discussed, that's what the fee is based on. It's a percentage of that asset, to keep it simple. And there's really two main reasons that we want to do it that way. Is one, when we charge that way, we're acting as fiduciaries. So again, every piece of advice that we give you, we're legally bound for it to be in your best interest in there. And two, if you have more money, we make more money. If you have less money, we make less money. So we are very incentivized to optimize your investments, whether that's helping you pay lower in taxes. Well, you know what? That means you're going to have more money, right? Or helping you stay disciplined on saving in that 401k. Well, you know what? You're going to have more money. Or obviously managing the money and losing less when the market's down, or hopefully making more when the market's up. You're going to have more money. And that's where we're incentivized. So we want to remove conflicts of interest. So we don't charge commissions. We don't charge different for bonds versus stocks versus cash. We charge the same, because if we started charging different for different asset classes, well, then there would be a conflict of interest there. And we don't want to do that. So I know I went on a little soapbox there, Cory. Did I miss anything with the way that we charge?
No, I think just making the delineation that you did, Jake, that while the way that clients compensate us is a percentage of the assets that is at Falcon Wealth Advisors, what they are ultimately paying for is our advice, not just the investment management component. It's everything we've talked about on the show today.
Right. Right. And frankly, some years you're going to need us a lot. Clients need us a lot, right? Maybe they're retiring and they've got a lot of accounts to roll over. Maybe they're turning 62 or 65 and they're turning on Medicare. 62, they're getting Social Security. Medicare, age 72, they have to start taking required minimum distributions. Some years are going to require heavy planning and a lot more meeting. Some years it's going to be, hey, how's it going? How's your golf game? See you later. So, but I want clients to remember, by staying engaged with us and keeping us on retainer, not only are we managing those investments, when something does inevitably pop up in your life, because it almost certainly always does, you'll have somebody that already knows about your plan, that already knows about your investments, and is ready to advise you. And I think that's critical also, Cory, because again, as you and I know, I mean, we've literally had thousands of meetings. We'll have a client that, one meeting, it's status quo, nothing has changed. And the next meeting, their whole world is different. Maybe they've got a grandchild now. Maybe they've retired, or maybe they started a business, right? Maybe they bought a second or third home, right? Cory, we could go on and on. I mean, we see so much variety in clients' lives that it's very important that we already have a plan in place, so that when these variables spike up, we're there to advise them and help them make good decisions.
Yeah, that's great. Jake, I met with a client just this week, and it's someone I always appreciate they ask this question when we review regularly. While oftentimes there's not too much that changes from meeting to meeting, the question is asked each time, Cory, what do we need to be thinking about? What do we need to be evaluating? What could we potentially consider doing differently? And maybe the answer is nothing, but let's at least make sure we're having that conversation with regularity.
Exactly. And we put that, our planners do a great job. They put that right in the observations for each and every client. So every client meeting, when we're going over the financial plan, they'll put in the observations, hey, we want to look at your tax return. That's been a very popular one right now because it's new. But whatever that may be, you're right, Cory. If something new rolls out, we're going to make sure we bring it up. That's good. It's been a good show, I think.
I think so too.
Well, thank you for joining me. I know we gotta wrap up. We're recording this early on a Friday morning, getting ready to go meet with our team. But Cory, you got any fun stuff going on? You watched any shows, read any books? You and Cassie got some travel plans coming up, don't you? When's that coming?
Yeah, so we have Well, so two things. One, in late August, we are going to Greece, which we're really excited for, something that's been in the making for a couple of years. And we just finally this year decided to pull the trigger and go. So we're really looking forward to that. But you asked about anything shows. I meant to ask you, Jake, if you've watched this yet. We just watched the movie Hustle on Netflix. Have you seen that?
Adam Sandler. Yeah, it was a good
Yeah,
one.
we just talked about this.
That's right.
I was trying to remember if I asked you.
So yeah, Rachel didn't want to watch it, but I watched it by myself. I thought it was great. Adam Sandler, I'm a fan. He's kind of my era when I was growing up with, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore.
Sure.
He's still cranking out good movies. I thought he did a good job. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. And I think it's funny how he's become, Adam Sandler has become just a pretty beloved actor, I think, by virtually everyone. And he's doing more and more than he's done. So good for him.
Yeah, he's good. He has good quality. I'm reading a good book called Leadership as Language. It's very interesting to me. It talks about red work versus blue work. Red work could be basically when you just put your head down and you're just doing A to B. It doesn't require much thought, but you're getting a lot done. And then blue work is when you're thinking things through and you take a step back and you have time to be more strategic. The good premise of the book is that the red workers, you need to give them time to do blue work. So the people actually doing the work need to be able to also make decisions, which I'm fascinated by. So it's been a really good book. I think I'm almost halfway through, but it's been a good one. So I've been really enjoying that. We're recording this before the holiday weekend, so hopefully I get some time to read it this weekend. So perfect. Well, thank you again for joining me on the show. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't liked, subscribed, feel free to do so, please. This show is called Upticks. Cory's is In the Money Insight. It's on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform. Thank you again for joining me, Cory, and thank you all for tuning in. We hope you have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, falconwealthadvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.